Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike and NFC fans alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Let's talk facts. So I'd like to begin with this whole thing that people don't realize how smart Dak Prescott is. And Dak Prescott isn't the first one to say this. But I understand the logic behind some people say, well, Micah Parsons saying come on is not a big deal because what do we want him to say? Well, for me, what I want him to say is absolutely nothing, or we won the game. We're just looking forward to Cincinnati and nothing else. We don't need to be doing all the bravado talk about we're coming after barely beating the New York Giants, whom the Bucs absolutely stomped. And I'm telling y'all, you might not believe me when I'm telling you, but all of this, what Jimmy Johnson said, I read last night about Jimmy Johnson talking about they're going to get on a run. They're going to win on Monday, and then they're going to win again. Keep on thinking the Dallas Cowboys are going to beat the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. You keep on thinking it. The Carolina Panthers gave they took the Bucs to overtime. It took the Bucs in overtime to beat the Carolina Panthers. I'm telling you, I love the Dallas Cowboys. I could never see myself rooting for another team. But what I am realistic about is we need to learn to not be a reflection of the team. What's going on, Freddie? LaQueen? What's going on, Robert? We have to learn how to not be a reflection of the team. As in what I mean, we got to stop thinking in terms of entitlement. We got to stop thinking every time we win a game or we win 2 games after losing 5 games. We got to stop being so entitled that we think every time we win some games that we're about to go on a run. We need to be real about this team. And I don't know if people can be real about this team. I'm hearing people flip-flopping on Mike McCarthy, and you the talk about Jerry Jones has went silent, and all of a sudden we're like, man, we can run the table. I am going to be 100% real tonight, Dallas Cowboy fans. We are not running the table. There is too much parity in the NFL right now. Only the elite of the elite teams are going on 5 and 6 game runs. We're not one of the elite teams. And contrary to what people are telling us, we are at the easy part of the schedule. But unfortunately, the teams that we have left, they're not easy. None of them are easy. And we're going to go through all of these different teams tonight. This is the NFC post-game show. We're going to revisit, we're going to visit the teams that are affecting us, quote unquote, on this playoff run. Because see, the reason why I say Dak Prescott is smart, let me get back to that thought. See, Dak Prescott understood something early on. You don't need to be depending on other teams to lose, to get into the playoffs. Because Micah Parsons and Micah Parsons fans, I got news for you. You can't say you're coming when you don't get to determine your own destiny. When you 9-2, when you 9-2, 11-0, 10-1, you get to tell everybody you coming if you want to. But do y'all notice that the teams who could really say we're coming, like the Detroit Lions, who all of a sudden look like, well, they look like world beaters except for maybe the last 2 weeks. And I'm going to talk about another NFC East team that I told y'all, and people are not believing me because we let the Cowboy way, I guess. We let the Cowboy way cloud our vision. This stuff is absolutely hilarious to me. I'm telling y'all, if we don't learn how to be realistic, we're going to always be fanatical fans. We're up, we're down. We hate the team. We love the team. We hate the owner. Now we love the owner. We hate Mike McCarthy. Now we love Mike McCarthy. We hate Dak Prescott. I don't know if some folk will ever love Dak Prescott. But at the end of the day, we got to stop letting Jerry Jones reel us back in. And his players now who we like Micah Parsons, reel us back in. And now people are calling him a leader. I'm sorry. I don't care who it make mad. When I hear someone saying we're coming, and I know full well what we are up against, and I know full well that we don't actually control our destiny. You know what? All that talk is fine. But for me, I don't take that person serious. I don't take that person serious. I don't. You know who I take serious? The man who says, settle down, guys. Settle down. One game at a time. That's the guy I take serious. Let's take care of the part that we can take care of. Let's take care of business. And you let everything else work itself out. No more talking. That's what's wrong with this Dallas Cowboy team. Shut your mouth. No more talking. Just doing. What's going on, Freddie? What's going on, Wicked? What's going on, Willie? No more talking by this team. I don't care what anyone says. As a Cowboy fan, the one thing I'm tired of from this team is talking. If I was a leader on this team, I would tell them, no more talking to the press. Shut your mouth. Nobody. No more talking. If you want to talk about, okay, we played a good game today. No more extra talking. I know we got press obligations. No more talking. We're not going to tell people anymore what we're doing. I'm sorry. You don't sneak up on people by telling them you're coming. You know how you sneak up on people? You shut your mouth. You put your nose to the grind. You get in your playbook. You get in your practice. You know your assignment, and you go out there and execute. Shut your mouth. Told y'all. Y'all gonna hear me before you hear me. Mike McCarthy was trying to tell Micah Parsons something. Will you please stop saying things that other men have to answer for? Because now that you say we're coming, now you put us all on the hook, and people say, well, he's creating accountability. No, first things first, be accountable for yourself. Go out there and dominate a game. When you start truly dominating games, when you're doing, I'm sorry, when Micah Parsons starts doing what we watched Demarion Overshown do on Thanksgiving, Micah Parsons, you can start doing maybe a little bit more talking. But until then, bro, we got to stop every time this dude gets one sack. Ooh, he's about to have, he's on par. He's on track for 10 sacks, 12 sacks. And I don't want to hear about the double teams. I want to hear how he's getting through the double teams. I don't want to hear about the quarterback pressures. I want to hear more sacks even. I want to hear, is he tackling? Is he in the run game? Is he all over the field? We got to stop talking. And all this talking, and you can't control your own destiny. How do you talk? You only talk about the things you can control. Willie T, we will finish 5-12 this season. Don't buy into what Jerry is selling. I haven't bought it from the beginning. I laugh at folk who called him a snake oil salesman 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden now they dead silent on Jerry Jones. They drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking Kool-Aid. I'm watching football. Appreciate you, Willie T. I'm watching football. I'm not listening to Jerry Jones flap his gums. I love what Dak Prescott said, and I'm telling y'all, Dak Prescott is the true leader on this team. And people don't like the stuff Dak says, but Dak is the true leader on this team. Y'all know what Dak Prescott said? Dak Prescott said, what Jerry Jones says in the press holds no water with me. You don't think that got to Jerry Jones? You better believe it did. Dak Prescott said, I'm not listening to nothing this man said to y'all because I know why he's talking. He's talking for the headlines. Dak explained it. No, I'm not listening to Jerry. I'm not listening to Jerry. I'm not listening to nothing he's saying. I'm only watching what he's doing. I'm telling us. We got to stop talking. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Wicked. Hit that like, subscribe, and hit that bell, y'all. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Freddie from El Paso. Appreciate you, my brother. Parsons, we coming just means he's bringing up the rear. This brother's tripping. And I'm laughing, folk eating this up. Man, we got to stop eating up something every time these dudes say it. My problem is people, but y'all got to understand, they need the Cowboys. This why they're talking them up now. Whoa, man, the Cowboys, they're looking different. Are they? I'm telling y'all don't realize it. I told y'all this the other day. The Cowboys caught the Commanders slipping. I think the Commanders were listening to everyone else talk about the demise of the Cowboys. And I believe Dan Quinn was running around all week talking noise to his team. We're going to rip them. We're going to stomp them. We're going to eat them. We're going to tear the Cowboys up. We're going to make the ex-Cowboys the captains of the team. Oh, we're going to do everything we can do to get the Cowboys except for play the doggone game for 4 quarters. All of a sudden, Dan Quinn woke up in the 4th quarter. It's too late now. You behind the whole game. I bet y'all, I'm telling y'all, watch what happened when Dan Quinn come to Dallas. Watch what happened. I'm telling you, Dan Quinn won't be asleep again. Willie T says, Michael think this team is going to run the table and make a playoff run. It's absolutely insanity. It's insanity. Frisco getting their butts handed to them by the Bills. That's why I went ahead and came on. I was going to try to watch the entire 49er game, but it's over for the 49ers. It's over. What's going on, J Pose? It's over. The 49ers, you know what? People just have to accept this for what it is. People do not understand. Even for the best coaches, even for the best players, it is hard to do what they have done. What have they been to in the last, 5 years? 3 Super Bowls? Last 5 to 6 years. What have they been to? 3 Super Bowls? It is hard to keep getting to that level again and again and again and again. Especially in a league with free agency, it's hard. It's hard. And it's just not the 49ers year. I hope they don't go and do something stupid talking about, everybody talking about, you see, y'all got to understand, stop listening to these dum-dums. These Colin Cowherds, these Terry Bradshaws. I'm sorry, just because I respect Terry Bradshaw, great quarterback on the field, but Terry Bradshaw being in the media has said a lot of dumb things. He has. I even watched his reality show. He says some dumb things. I told you last night, Michael Jordan, my favorite basketball player, probably top 3 for me. Does anybody realize he's the GOAT? But as an owner, he was terrible. And I respect him. He don't talk a lot of basketball. He's not trying to get on shows and give his opinion. No, he don't want to do all that stuff. Just because these guys played don't mean they are up on so many things. What's going on, Wicked? There's room for y'all on Steelers Nation. Hey, we're going to talk about that game in just a moment. WeFC, y'all can support us. We're going after the Chiefs. Let's go Steelers. We're taking off after the Ravens lost too. Woo, man, yeah, we're going to talk about both of those. Bills 28-10, Freddie. It's a shame. I just feel I feel sorry for the 49ers because I think I didn't see what the injury, Shanahan didn't want to elaborate, but I got a strange feeling that McCaffrey popped an Achilles because he had Achilles tendonitis in both of those legs, and so I will not be surprised if this man is gone for the year. Appreciate you, LaQueen and Willie. I'm telling us, it's nice to be talking about a win, but realistically, yeah, come on. I enjoyed the win. But the Cowboys, that toxic part of the fan base, that part that's driven by Michael Parsons. See, Michael Parsons has become a part of the media. And this is why people feed into so much of what he says. It's the part that, like Michael Parsons, that make it hard for me to enjoy the game. Cincinnati's up next. They put up 38. And as a matter of fact, since we keep going on that, and I know Wicked, he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Let's go ahead and look at the first game, because the first game, let's talk about Cincinnati, because that's who we have to play next. As a matter of fact, I might want to come back to that last, but I'll go ahead and talk about it. You guys have already brought it up. And I talked about this even the other day. And I'm telling y'all, people don't understand what they're saying. And they don't understand what they're seeing with these doggone Bengals, man. These doggone Bengals. People don't understand what they're seeing. Let me tell y'all something, in case you didn't know. Let me get a little bit more information for you. I'm going to show you something that's absolutely astounding when you talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and why I'm telling us, boy, man, if y'all don't understand what I'm telling you, I'm trying to tell us something, man. Let me show you something about these doggone Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the real deal, y'all. Let me show y'all something. And I'm going to admit, I don't know, Wicked. You tell me what you think. Pittsburgh Steelers absolutely shocked me today. I know how we did it, but I'm still wondering how in the world did we beat that team? How do we beat them? And I guess the only answer is, as some people have given, the only answer that we can really give is Justin Fields was the quarterback. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because now that Russell Wilson is up in this thing, let me show y'all something. Yes, sir, J. Pose. Gee, I like it. Action always speaks louder than words. See, that's the kind of leaders I like. Somebody was telling me on X, you don't get to determine what a leader is. I don't get to determine what it is. But the proof is in the pudding. Are you a cheerleader or are you a leader? There's a difference in a cheerleader and a leader. We need both of them in a sense. But typically the cheerleaders don't play in the game. Y'all remember the cheerleaders? Here we go, team. Here we go. Yo, we love the cheerleaders. But when we talking about on the field, I'm not looking for the cheerleader. I don't want to be down 56-0 with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and we got somebody talking about, come on, guys, we can come back. So it's 56-0, and you telling us we can come back in 5 minutes left on the clock. Get out of the game. Now, if you're going to tell me let's keep playing hard, I'm with you. But if you're going to tell me that there's a chance we're going to come back, I'm looking at you now like a clown. Willie T says Jerry says things to keep the media attention on the Cowboys. And Michael Parsons, this is why Michael Parsons is going to get the deal, because he's just like Jerry. Jerry loves him. The last thing we've been to do is embolden Jerry in any way. We've already done it. I showed y'all the numbers last night. I showed y'all the numbers from the Thanksgiving game, 38.5 million, 41.3 million at its peak from 6 to 6:15, and then after that, 38.5 million. Do y'all realize we had 2 backup quarterbacks playing? Not one, but 2 backup quarterbacks, and people still watched it. Willie T said 49ers are going to regroup next season. I believe they are too. What's going on, Gabe? Preach. Michael Parsons thinks this is the WWE where he can cut promos and mindless robotized sheep will buy in the words of Chris Jericho. Would you please shut the hell up? I don't understand how people can hear this stuff and go, this guy's a trip. Something wrong with this guy. He's not in reality. This dude said we're not done yet. You don't get to determine that. If you can determine that you're not done, then I'm with you. You don't get to determine that. Because there are too many things that have to happen. And this in this NFC thing, and I'm going to show you, the problem is those things already aren't happening. Freddie says, sorry, G, but Jordan is not to go. Uh-oh, boy, you better stop, Freddie. When I start my next channel, we gonna have that debate on another channel. Willie T agreed. Injuries have killed the 49ers this year, just like the Cowboys. Yep. And actually, even more so the 49ers than us. Because the 49ers are always there. They always make this run, and they go all the way. They're not going anywhere. Royal 07 Cowboys, what's going on? He says, I know everything about the Cowboys. Okay, appreciate it. Jerry killed the Cowboys season. The 49ers weren't ready to handle their injuries. Nope, they were not. They were not. So far, the only reason Fields is passing versus Wilson, the only reason is Fields passing versus Wilson passing is why we beat the Steelers. Yep, that's what I said. It's the only thing that we can really say, okay, that must be the difference. But let me show y'all something real quick. Let me get a comment in real quick from Willie, and then Wicked, and then I'm gonna go to the stats. I hate to tell some fans, but Mike is not a leader. He's not. He's a cheerleader. Doesn't mean he's not an elite athlete. He is. Doesn't mean he's not a great football player. He is. But Mike McCarthy said it. And Micah is more listening to Jerry than Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy said, the more you focus on something else, the less you focus on football. And I'm telling us, they robbed this man, DeMarion Overshown, on Thanksgiving. It's a crying shame. Yeah. What's your point? What's going on? We beat the Steelers because we ran the ball. That part too? Let me get this from Wicked, and then I'm going to go in. Wicked says, I blame the defense not doing their job on our loss to y'all. I believe Fields will be one of the best quarterbacks in the league in the next few years. Now, I'll be honest with you. Now, going forward, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, they probably need to be looking at developing Fields more, and maybe he could be their quarterback of the future. I think Fields is still talented. The problem is there was no time to develop on the Pittsburgh Steelers because, people, it's just like I'm going to talk about with the Philadelphia Eagles when I get to the Philadelphia Eagles. See, the problem is people are in denial about these teams like the Eagles and the Steelers. But I'm sorry, the Steelers are well coached. And coaching goes a long way, even when your team may not have everything that it quite needs. But if you got a coach that's got a great mentality, and he's created a great mentality in the team, the Steelers were ready to win, regardless of what anyone thought. And they are still the real deal, even though the Cleveland Browns beat them. Doesn't mean they're not the real deal. And that's what I was saying to people the other week. I'm not going to knock them for getting beat by the doggone Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, it's actually a tragedy that they're not winning more because they got a good team. But I want to show y'all what the Dallas Cowboys are in for. Let me show you something. Folks might not realize this. This is a huge deal. And it's absolutely insane when you think about it. Look at this. Do we realize the Cincinnati Bengals? They put up 38 points on the Steelers? What? I don't know which one I'm more perplexed by. The fact that the Bengals scored 38 points, or the fact that the Steelers scored 44 points. This is not the Steelers' MO. The Steelers, like I said, what makes them unique to me is that the Steelers is the type of team that can take you out to the deep. They don't mind winning ugly. They don't mind winning 13-12, 10.5-11. Pittsburgh Steelers, see, Mike Tomlin don't subscribe to what the Dallas Cowboy fans do to our quarterback. See, if our quarterback don't score enough points, our starting quarterback, then we're ready to dog him. Mike Tomlin says, I don't give a doggone. I don't care if we win by hook or crook. My wife was saying something today. She said, oh, yeah, the Bucs almost got beat by the Panthers. I told my wife today, I said, almost don't go in the win and loss column. You can tell me anything you want to about almost. Almost don't count. Almost don't count. Wins are wins and losses are losses. I'm not saying they're all the same. But at the end of the day, they're going to have the same effect. A win is going to get you a lot further than a loss, period, no matter how you do it. Look at this. The Pittsburgh Steelers scored 20 points in the second quarter? This is insane. I mean, and look at this. The Bengals, it was 21-27 at the half. What? Them boys were battling. Them boys were battling. Now I'm gonna say something here that the Cooper Rush apologists are not going to like. I promise you, Cooper Rush ain't putting up 44 points. Cooper Rush not putting up 44 points. This Dallas Cowboy team is not putting up 44 points. This Dallas Cowboy team, and this is my fear about playing the Bengals. If it becomes a shootout, it's going to be a blowout. If it becomes a shootout, it's going to be a blowout because y'all got to explain to me. Now, who defense y'all think better? Who defense y'all think better? The Steelers or the Cowboys? Because I'm going to tell you every day of the week, the Steelers defense is better than the Dallas Cowboys. It's better than the Dallas Cowboys. And it's not even close at this point. It don't mean that it won't be close next year. But they're not close. They're not close to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This Pittsburgh defense could not hold the Bengals below 20 points. The Bengals scored 38. What are we going to do with them? Now, I'm not going to say Mike Zimmer. I've been bragging on Zimmer all season long. Zimmer has had the answer here lately. He has been keeping, and the problem with this defense, though, the problem with this defense, I want you to look at what the Bengals did. You got to look at the trend. The Bengals, in the fourth quarter, they scored 14 points. What have we watched the Dallas Cowboys do, even in the last 2 weeks? Before the last 2 weeks, it was the third quarter. The last 2 weeks, have you noticed? It's been the fourth quarter. We start giving up the ghost. And Jerry Jones made the excuse, well, you know, with that kind of defensive effort, it's expected to get tired. You get tired down the stretch. And they were able to come back on us. You're not going to be able to do that with the Bengals. If you don't play buzzer to buzzer with the Bengals, you're done. We've watched them do this. Do y'all know what keeps letting down the Bengals? The defense. The defense keeps destroying the Bengals. But their offense, y'all might not be hearing me, but for them to score 38 points, 21 of those in the first half against the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's crazy. That's crazy. Look at this. Russell Wilson had an insane day today. I saw this number. I couldn't believe it. Russell Wilson was 29 of 38. Wow. 414 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception. But look at Joe Shiesty. I'm telling y'all, this dude, Joe Burrow right now, if they were not 4-8 now? 4-9? If they were not 4-8, Joe Burrow right now, hands down, MVP of the league. Even over Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow is having an insane season. And I don't know what the Bengals going to do. I don't know what the Bengals going to do. The fact that Jamar Chase, man, I'm sorry. I don't understand. Why in the world would they let this man? Why would they let this man, Jamar Chase? Why would they let Jamar Chase get to his a contract year? This man has been balling. Look at this, 6 for 86. What? T. Higgins, 5 for 69. Look at their averages. Look at their averages. Do you know what this is telling you about the Bengals? The Bengals can go deep anytime they want to. Anytime they want to. Mike Gesicki, 5 for 53. 10 yards average per catch. This is crazy. I don't even know. Andre Lascivas, 3 for 35. Chase Brown, 3 for 30. Tanner Hudson, 4 for 28. Drew Sample, 2 for... Do y'all realize what these stats are telling us? This man don't mind going deep. This man don't... And I'm telling y'all, Trayvon Diggs has been a liability all season long. He's been a liability. And DaRon Bland, as good as he is, I watched DaRon Bland last year. We're going to be in a little reality about him too. DaRon Bland, high risk. Not as high risk as Trayvon Diggs. Yeah, he's a risk. He don't mind taking risk. Got good ball skills, good ball instincts. But we watched Bland get burned. We watched him get burned bad in some games last year. And I'm telling you now, if they don't stay disciplined the way Mike Zimmer, because I know what Mike Zimmer is going to try to do. Mike Zimmer is going to try to play cover 2. He's going to try to make sure, keep everything in front of you. He's going to try to bring the safeties over to help and do whatever he needs to do to try to control their deep game. Unfortunately, that's going to open up a little bit of the Cincinnati Bengals run game. And so now we are in a situation. They're going to have to make a choice. Do they want to get burned by the run? Or do they want to get burned by the pass? Because I am telling y'all, if you do not believe me, let me show you what the Pittsburgh Steelers are on defense. Look at this. Opponents' points per game. They're number 3, 16.9 points. The Bengals broke that today. Opponents' yards per game, 305.2. They're number 7. Opponents' points per play, they're number 5. Opponents' yards per play, they're number 9, 5.2. Third down conversions, they're number 4. Fourth down conversions, who cares about them being number 22 at that? Because most people ain't going to do that. Look at their red zone scoring. Do y'all know we have a problem scoring? In the red zone, they're number 13. Opponents' TDs, they're number 4. Do y'all not realize this is a top 5 defense and them doggone Bengals went up in there and scored 38 points? What? I'm laughing at Jimmy Johnson. I know we love I know we love Jimmy Johnson. I love Jimmy Johnson too. I love what he did for the Cowboys in the 90s. But I'm sorry, this is 2024. This is 2024. Y'all might not realize this, but Jimmy is living on legacy. I'd be surprised if Jimmy even watched film anymore. I mean, you can tell by the way Jimmy talks. Jimmy ain't watching game film the way he would when he was a coach. Jimmy just watching football on TV like everybody else. And you got to really, if you're going to really talk like this with being an analyst, and I'm not what I call an analyst per se, but you do have to get in these box scores. You do have to watch these games. You do have to, if you want to get into some of the micro analytics, if you want to get into some of the pro football focus stuff, it requires some of that. That's not what they're paying Jimmy for. Y'all might not realize that. They're not paying Jimmy for all those types of analytics. They're just paying Jimmy for hot takes. That's what they pay these guys for now. They don't pay him for the analytics. I remember when Shannon Sharp first came on Undisputed. And I was in awe of Shannon Sharp. He would blow me away at how sharp he was statistically. And I remember that Skip Bayless used to talk about his guy who used to give him all his stats. But the more that Shannon Sharp became an entertainer, I noticed something about Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp went away from the analytics. He went away from the numbers. He went away from the tape. He went away from that football. I mean, that football IQ acumen that man, this guy is watching tape. I mean, this guy is really into the game. The more he became an entertainer, the less he started giving all of the facts, as in digging in. He just started giving his takes. He just started giving his takes, giving his opinions, giving political opinions on things. I mean, Jimmy, y'all, you got to understand something about Jimmy. And even Terry, I promise y'all, they're not looking at tape like guys like Troy Aikman. They're not looking at tape like guys like Tony Romo, guys like Tom Brady. Those two in particular, they're not doing it. You know why? Because they don't have to do play-by-play. They don't have to know all of these little nuggets that they want to give you during the game, after the game, at half. They're not doing that. That's why I'm not listening to those guys. As much as I respect them, I'm not listening to them. I'm telling you what Jimmy even said about the Cowboys, the false hope. They're going to go on a run. Jimmy, shut your mouth, bro. What are you going to do when they don't go on a run? What are you going to do? I'm telling y'all. And for as much as people have been talking about the Steelers, boy, they better shut up. They better shut up talking about the Steelers. Don't let the Steelers go. Don't let the Steelers come out of your mouth. The Steelers are a good team. And I said it the other day. The Steelers are not just a good team. The Steelers right now, love it, like it, or hate it, they're a great team. They're a great team. They might be getting beat, but they're a great team. And I am so looking forward to these playoffs because there's a showdown coming. There's a showdown coming because to me right now, I'm looking at the AFC playoff picture. And unequivocally to me, it's the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Steelers. And I'm going to give you a hot take that people may not like. But I think these two teams right here, I think the Bills and the Steelers are better than the Chiefs. I think they're better than the Chiefs. If you look at how the Chiefs are winning, it's scary. They're winning, and people are starting to talk about it. The Chiefs are starting to win. It's like they're winning by some things that seem to be outside of what's happening on the field. I mean, and what I mean, I'm not talking about on the field. It is stuff happening on the field, but it's not by the play. It's almost like these other players on the team. I mean, on the field, these guys in the black and the white, like these guys are helping them win some games. And folk are taking notice. But you mess around and play the Bills and the Steelers right now. I don't think there's going to be able to be no referee hunt for you. I mean, no referee help for you. Because these two teams, and I don't understand why the Bills, and I guess I don't even want to say the Bills don't have a running game because I'm looking tonight and this kid Cooks, man. This dude was running in the grass. Everybody else is running in the ice and the snow. This guy was nasty. And I'm telling you, these two teams right here, and you know what? I'm going to give you one more dark horse. I'm going to tell you something I've noticed about Derrick Henry. Have y'all noticed Derrick Henry the last 3 games? I follow Derrick Henry. I mean, I'm a Derrick Henry fan. Have y'all been watching Derrick Henry the last 3 games? He ain't looking the same. And I don't know if it's necessarily he's not looking the same, but I can tell you this. Teams are stopping Derrick Henry the last 3 weeks. I mean, the job the Cincinnati Bengals did on him, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? I was in awe. I was like, wait a minute, how did they stop Derrick Henry? And we watched it again today. Don't tell me the Philadelphia Eagles not good. I'm not letting you tell me that either. We got to start being realistic and stop being haters because we love our team. We got to be for real. I'm sorry, the Philadelphia Eagles are doggone for real. And the Detroit Lions, after what I've seen the last 2 weeks, they better be afraid of the Eagles. The Eagles are sneaky good. Oh, yeah, Jalen Hurts, he's not that good. Man, Michael Parsons' brother talks about Terrence Parsons. He talks about Jalen Hurts so bad it's a crying shame. And I told him straight up the other day, Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia Eagles are better than the Dallas Cowboys. You can say anything you want to say about Jalen Hurts, but he's winning. Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's better than Dak Prescott. But I do say he's got a better team around him than Dak Prescott. And while I think Dak Prescott is a better thrower of the ball, a better reader of defenses, I think Dak is better at all of that. But you know what makes Jalen Hurts so dangerous? He's a dual, and I mean a true dual threat quarterback. Jalen gonna gut you all kinds of ways, and people don't want to give him credit. Jalen Hurts will gut you all kinds of ways. Jalen Hurts at times will make a throw and you go, hold on a second, let me rewind that. How did he do that? He doesn't do it 10, 15 times a game. He does it about 3 or 4 times a game. When it really counts and you go, wow, how did he do that? And then he'll pull it down and run it. And you go, this dude can absolutely run. That's Jalen Hurts. He's got a loaded team. The defense is hungry. They're tenacious, and people don't even understand it. Jalen Hurts got a good team. He got a great team. Jerry Jones ought to take notice of what their GM has done over the last 5 seasons. And matter of fact, I actually think it's been, the last 10, 8, maybe 10 seasons? They won with doggone Nick Foles, y'all. We got to stop hating on these teams. And I'm telling y'all, these teams are good. And the reason why I'm saying all of this, this Pittsburgh Steelers team is real. They're real. And I'm just thankful that, I don't know, I would have wanted to saw Russell Wilson and see what he did against the Dallas Cowboys. But the way Russell Wilson is playing right now, I noticed it last week against Cleveland. I was kind of like, Russell Wilson, maybe he is better than Justin Fields right now. And he obviously is. You look at the numbers. The Steelers are a good team, and their defense is great. The Steelers, they are a great team. They are bona fide number 3. People need to stop hating. They're bona fide number 3, and I think they are, boy, I'm telling you, I'm about 1 week away from saying the Steelers is the best team in the AFC. I'm about 1 week away. I need to see, I want to see them play the Bills. Because I can tell you right now, I think they're better than the Chiefs. Now, I'll never count out Pat Mahomes. I'll never count him out. But that Steelers defense, man, I'm sorry. The Las Vegas Raiders gave the Chiefs all they could handle. And I was kind of like, I don't believe this, what they just did, because it seemed like to me they lost that game. But almost ain't good enough. They won the game. But I'm telling you this, they can't do stuff like that against the Steelers and the Bills. They'll be one and done. They'll be one and done against those teams. And I'm telling y'all, the Steelers are good. And I'm saying all that to say, this team right here at number 10, boy, the only thing that has let them down is the defense. If they will go fix their defense in the offseason, the Bengals, they're going to be right back at 12 wins, and they're going to be right back up here at the top. And they have been, people may not realize it, Patrick Mahomes' kryptonite has been none other than Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Been kryptonite for him. Absolute kryptonite. And so, for the Cincinnati Bengals to put that many points up on the Steelers, y'all better take notice. I already know the Steelers are good, but I'm telling you, this doggone Cincinnati Bengal team, it's explosive. It's downright explosive. And it's actually a shame that they are as bad as they are. Joe Burrow, I'm telling you, Joe Burrow is the MVP of the league if they have more wins. He's the MVP of the league if they have more wins. I'm telling you, man, this dude is the real deal. And I'm going to be going even more over this next week because y'all might not realize this. I want you to look at how crazy this is. I want you to see this. And I'm going to hide something for you because I want you to just see this part. I want y'all to see this part right here. This is what the Cowboys offense is going up against. And this is the exact thing that has been letting down the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the only part I want to show you starting out. Look at this. Look at this. Opponent points per game, 26.9. They're number 28. They're fourth worst in the league. So the problem isn't the Cowboys will be able to score. I don't believe they can score 30 points with Cooper Rush unless the defense helps them out. Unless the defense helps them out with a pick six, a strip sack fumble by Micah Parsons, Damarion Overshown, unless they get a strip sack fumble to the house, unless what happened last week, do we not realize Damarion Overshown broke the game wide open? If he don't tip that ball to himself and run it in the end zone, I'm sorry, I bet you that game goes down to the wire. I bet you that game goes down to the wire. I bet it comes down to Brandon Aubrey winning that game 2017 or 23-20. Or unless, like the week before, unless we get a return from Kevontae Turpin, and Kevontae Turpin breaks the game wide open, makes it 27-20. And then when they almost tie the game up 27-26, then they miss the extra point. Unless we get those kinds of plays, I do not believe Mike McCarthy is capable with what he has. I don't believe he's capable. I don't believe he's capable of 30 points with this Dallas Cowboy team. I'd be shocked if he could meet that threshold of 27. Because I can tell you this. The Pittsburgh Steelers couldn't stop the Cincinnati Bengals. They beat them, but they outdueled them. And this is not the way Pittsburgh win games. And that's why I say Pittsburgh is truly good. You know why? They showed us something. They showed us something, Wicked. The Pittsburgh Steelers just put the NFL on notice. We can win, not only taking you to the deep with an ugly game, but we can also outduel you and outscore you, and you keep playing with us, we'll put 44 points up on you. They just put the league on notice. We might be watching the resurgence of Russell Wilson. Because that Russell Wilson, he's looking like the Super Bowl, and even better than the Super Bowl Russell Wilsons. The Super Bowl Russell Wilsons were primarily defense. Well, we're watching something with Russell Wilson since he's been back, and I noticed that the moment he hit the field, the difference between him and Justin Fields, Russell Wilson knows he don't have the wheels that Justin Fields has. Justin Fields pulls it down and run. Russell Wilson doing some of that Seattle stuff, escaping, razzle-dazzle, down the field. Russell was going down the field. I noticed that immediately. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on with Russell Wilson all of a sudden? He making Sean Payton look like an idiot. You paying this man millions of dollars, and now we're seeing something, Payton. Russell was better than you thought, and you didn't give him a chance. Will it not be ironic if the Denver Broncos wind up playing the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Pittsburgh Steelers annihilate them? And Russell Wilson does it again and throws another 3 or 4 touchdowns? Because I bet you this, when the Pittsburgh Steelers meet the Denver Broncos, boy, you better believe Mike Tomlin, he going to fight this battle for Russell Wilson. They're going to be out for blood. You watch what I tell you. But I'm saying all this to tell you, the Cincinnati Bengals scored. Look at their defense. Number 28. Number 23 yards per game. 27 points per play, 17 opponents' yards per play. I mean, third down conversion, the number 27, number 24, fourth down conversion, red zone scoring, number 31, 30 in touchdowns, an average of 3.3 touchdowns per game. I believe the Cowboys are going to be able to score. Just don't believe they're going to be able to score 30 points. I don't. And the problem is going to be this. But I want you to look at the rest of the story. This is the insane part. How do you have the lowest ranked defense, one of the lowest ranked defenses in the NFL, but then when we look at your points, what? You're 27. You're ranked number 6. Your yards per game, you're ranked number 9. Your points per play, you rank number 6. Your yards per play, you're ranked number 11. Your third down conversion is 5th in the league. Your fourth down conversion is 10th in the league. Your red zone scoring is 3rd in the league. Your touchdowns per game is 5th in the league. Man, you want to talk about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? I don't know. I'm telling you. I'm not going to doubt Mike Zimmer. I've been bragging on him all year. But the part of Mike Zimmer's offense that has really let him down the most, as he's gotten better, it's been the secondary play. And the issue is, when you look at the last 2 wins, we didn't have, or that other team didn't have, a true passing attack. They didn't have 5 guys deep. 5 guys deep that can go deep. They didn't have guys who could exploit the weaknesses of the secondary, the safety play, matching up a safety on one of their good tight ends or matching up a safety on T. Higgins. We didn't see that against these other teams. Cincinnati is going to put and push Mike Zimmer's defense with the personnel he currently has. It's going to push him to his limits. It is. It's going to push him to his limits. They're not going to have to run. They're not going to have to worry about the run. When you look at the Bengals, I mean, look at them. You don't have to worry about them running the ball. They're number 27 in rush play percentage. They throw the ball a lot. They throw it all over the yard. They're number 24 in yards per rush. They're 28 in rushes per game, 27 in rush yards per game. They're 22 in rush TDs a game. They don't need it. They got Joe Shiesty. These numbers are like this because Joe Shiesty is having an MVP season. And when you look at them, the Cowboys, they'll probably be able to run on them. Their opponent's rush play percentage, 45%, ranked number 20. Now, the reason why teams can't run on them as much, because they score touchdowns. And so because they score touchdowns, the team says, wait a minute, we can't run. We got to throw the ball. That's why Pittsburgh had to kind of go out of character today and said, hey, we got to outduel them. They're 15 yards per rush. I mean, they give up 4.4. That's Rico Dowdle's average. Opponents' rushes per game, 29.8, number 25. People try to run on them. They want to control the clock. I mean, you want to keep Joe Shiesty off, but the problem is the more points they score, then you got to say, well, we can't run. We got to throw. Look at this. Opponents' rush per game, 129.8. Rush TDs, 1.4. The problem isn't going to be, the Cowboys' hope is simple. You better play outstanding defense, and you better run the ball 35, 40 times. They've ran about 25-ish. No, they better run the ball and run the ball and run the ball to keep this ball out of the hands of Cincinnati. Because when it's Cincinnati's turn, you better not be scoring field goals. Brandon Aubrey ain't beating Cincinnati. You better be scoring touchdowns. Because if you're not scoring touchdowns and winning the time of possession, and I'm sure Mike McCarthy gonna come out talking about, yeah, we want to do 15-play drives. I mean, that's kind of what, we want to have ball control. Okay, because that's exactly what you better do. And we want to depend on Mike Zimmer. That's what you better do. Because if Mike Zimmer doesn't have a performance of his life, The Cincinnati Bengals are going to blow the hair back on the Dallas Cowboys, and they're going to bring this fan base right back to reality. You better stop talking about making a run. What you better do is focus on the next game and the next game only. Don't do what we're doing. Don't look at the schedule and start talking about, okay, who can we beat? No. Don't do that stuff. Don't listen to Michael Parsons talking about we coming. That's why DeMarcus Lawrence told him to shut up. No. Cowboys, they need to be focused on the Bengals. They're going to give them everything they can handle. Now, my only question about the Bengals, and this is why I said I was wondering if they would win the game. I'm wondering because right now, the Bengals are at number 10. They're at 10. And I just don't know. I'm just wondering how motivated they're going to be. How motivated are they going to be? Because it's going to be mighty hard. Today was pretty much their last ditch effort. It's going to be mighty hard. Not saying it can't happen, but boy, you got 8 losses now. Now, the 2 teams in front of them have 8 losses too, but that's not my concern. My concern is the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos get to 8 losses. Their defense, people may not realize it, but the Broncos' defense is absolutely insane. It's bonkers. I would be afraid. And I'm not going to say necessarily afraid, but the Bills, which is probably the team they would play, the Bills better be on notice. The Broncos' defense is insanely nasty. They better be on notice. They better bring their A game because I'm telling you, anybody who play the Broncos, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble playing the Broncos. So my question is, with the Bengals pretty much out of it, will they put forth the effort and say, we're still going to try to win games? That's my question. Let me read some comments. Robert says, as a lifelong Cowboys fans, I've always respected Mike Tomlin. The man is no joke, and he knows his team. He does. Wicked says, I think Prime Kobe would beat Prime Jordan. Oh, man. Hey, I'm going to start a whole nother channel. We're going to talk about stuff like that. Willie T said, this is why I say Michael will take whatever Jerry offer him in the next contract, just like Diggs did. I think Jerry going to pay him. Wicked says, I think Dr. J is also better than Jordan. Boy, you better stop. Hey, man, but I ain't going to lie. Hey, Dr. J, boy, that joker walked on air, boy. He was graceful, too, in the air. Michael Jordan just more graceful. Kareem is my GOAT, though. Tim Duncan doesn't get enough love. Boy, you better stop. Tim Duncan, boy, people be they need supposed to respect on that man's name. Duncan was an absolute assassin. But you know what, though? And this is why I appreciate Jordan so much. Because a lot of the people who we talking about, they say Michael Jordan's the GOAT. And the thing I appreciate about Jordan, he never calls himself the GOAT. Because he knows exactly some of the things you guys are saying. Mike said, for him to call himself the GOAT is to disrespect the players that came before him and some of the players who played, he played against. And some of these other players who have played after him. Mike don't do stuff like that. There's been some great players out there. Someone needs to tell Michael to get back to us when he quits disappearing. Robert, I said it the other day and people got mad. They started going all into the analytics. Facts, Fields need to stay in Pittsburgh. Willie T, yeah, I do believe it. Kareem is, and will always be the GOAT. Freddie, there's some other people that share that too. Boy, yeah, if T-Mac didn't get hurt, woo, man. Boy, people do not understand how good T-Mac was. T-Mac was nasty. He was. That was a division game. The Browns always get hyped to play the Steelers. Yep, for sure. MP is Michael Parsons is AWOL when the game is on the line. He ain't no J.J. Watt or insert any elite defensive player name here. I'm telling you, the guy I keep going to is Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is it, man. He's straight up it. Facts, the Blizzard game was crazy. I was actually happy for Jameis. Me too. I want Jameis to get another chance, and I hope the Cleveland Browns stay with him. Revelation said, what is the name of the owner who is meddling with the coach of the Steelers? Yo, I'm thinking that may be sarcasm. Steelers care only about winning, not winning pretty ugly. That's why I'd love to play for him. Boy, I'd love to play for Mike Tomlin. Man, we're seeing the Eagles can be a juggernaut for years. Lone Star. I'm telling these folks about the Eagles, bro. I'm going to talk about them in a moment. They better put some respect on that man's name, Jalen Hurts. You tell me anything you want to about Jalen Hurts. That man got a team. And they're asking him, and this is what I keep saying about our Dallas Cowboys. We pay a player and say, we want you to be Superman. Other teams pay their players and say, we don't want you to do anything outside of yourself. We know exactly what you are. We're going to get the other players to supplement what you're not. You do what you do best, and we'll get the other people to do the rest. That's what the other teams are saying. That's why I love this game when I was watching. Let's see who's the most effective. Derrick Henry for Lamar Jackson and Lamar Jackson, or Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts for Jalen Hurts. People don't want to give Jalen Hurts credit. Jalen Hurts is good. He's great. He's a leader of men. Nope, he's not the greatest thrower of the football in the world, even though, like I said, 4 or 5 times in the game, you'd be like, what? What did he just do? Jalen Hurts is great, y'all. He's great. I'm not even going to acknowledge that, Dak. We needed 2 players to do what Overshawn did by himself, but that was the game breaker. Pass, deflection, and interception. But Overshawn still scored a TD, so our 2 players still didn't do what he did. Yeah, Overshawn is going to be the new game. He's going to be the game changer on this team. He's going to be the new game changer. He is. The Cincinnati Bengals defense had more holes than Swiss cheese and couldn't stop a nosebleed today. They made Russell Wilson like Joe Montana. Bill Walsh was calling plays. But, Gabe, that's the point I already pointed out. But they're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But the issue is, their offense has been consistent. Their offense is putting up points at an alarming rate. And Joe Burrow, I'm telling y'all, if Joe Burrow, let me look at this real quick. If Joe Burrow was winning, if his team was winning games, Joe Burrow right now, it would be a run. It'd be a runaway. Joe Burrow would literally be the MVP of the league. It wouldn't even be close. Let me show you what this dude is doing. This is what Joe Burrow is doing. This is insane. Joe Burrow is 3rd in yards, 1st in TDs, tied for 1st in TDs, 5 interceptions, and 2nd in QBR. This is Joe Burrow. This dude is balling. If they get this man a defense, man, I'm sorry. Joe Burrow should be right up there with the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Steelers. It's a tragedy to be wasting what Joe Burrow is absolutely doing. Let me show you what's even more insane. Look at this. Look at the points. Look at the points they're putting up. 38, 27, 34, 24, 17, Philly the real deal, 14, Cleveland, 7, New York Giants, 38, 24, 33, 25. They've had some duds in there, but boy, multiple games. I mean, look at this. When you look at 3 touchdowns, nothing for them. Nothing. Joe Burrow is literally killing it. Look at the 300 and 400 yards games. And some of these are because they're playing from behind and they're trying to come back because the defense has done something stupid. But Burrow is balling. He balling. There's hardly been any team that can control him. And you think about this is an early game. They gave KC everything they could handle. The crazy thing is the Commanders beat them, but look what the Commanders had to do. The Commanders had to put up 38 points. They had to put up 38 points to beat Joe Shiesty. 34 on Carolina, Baltimore. Man, I saw this game. I'm telling y'all they cheated Joe Shiesty. No, it was this game I saw. They cheated Joe Shiesty on this one. And I remember on this one, Lamar Jackson, it took a play of his life. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm telling y'all. And if you look at the last 4 games, look at the teams they played. Not counting Las Vegas. We can do the last 5. But Philly is for real. Philly for real. People don't want to admit it. Philly for real. But if you look at their last 5 games, look at the points. Now look at their opponent's points. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I could be totally wrong. I just have a feeling that Russell Wilson is better than Cooper Rush. I have a feeling that Justin Herbert is better than Cooper Rush. I got a strange feeling, I'm not too sure, but I think Lamar Jackson is better than Cooper Rush. And if nobody's not looking at the Philadelphia Eagles defense, whoa, here she comes. She's a man-eater by Hall & Oates. The Philadelphia Eagles defense is for real. So for them to hold them to 17, it's not a surprise to me. Philadelphia Eagles defense is eating. Man, Philadelphia Eagles defense is eating. And folks keep hating on them. Now that defense is eating. But when you think about the points, teams are having to outduel them. I watched this Los Angeles Chargers game. It took it all the way to the 4th quarter. And the Bengals did have a couple of stumbles. Couldn't get it done. But I'm telling you, they put up points, y'all. They put up points. They do. We know their defense is bad. That's not the question. That's obvious by what we've been watching the whole season. But I've been watching them. Even when their defense is having bad performances, they're still putting up points. I don't believe it. I don't believe the Cowboys can put up 30 points. Robert said it's rare to see division rivals score that many points against each other. It is. It really is. Only way we put up 40 points, defense had to score 21. For sure. We're going to need, and think about this. People don't understand this. With Cooper Rush, if the defense doesn't play perfect, if there's not something happening on special teams, you're not going to win with Cooper Rush. You're not. Especially with the way this team is presently constructed. You're not. You're not going to do it. 2 weeks in a row, we got special teams, and then we got DeMaurion Overshown. Well, you're going to need both of those to beat the Bengals. You're going to need both of them. Because I'm telling you, you will score, but I don't think we can score like that. I don't think we can score like that. Wicked says Dallas can put up 44 points. They just need their defense to score 3 TDs. That's it. That's exactly what they're going to need. They're going to have to manufacture touchdowns outside of Cooper Rush. Because the further down the field Cooper Rush throws, the more of a liability he is. There's a reason why they say he has a quick release, y'all. Let me give you the rest of the story. He got a quick release because all of his passes are short. And so he's getting the ball out of his hand because, number 2, he's a sitting duck. This is why the Cowboys, they better run the ball. They better run the ball because the moment you put them in passing situations, they better not let the Bengals get up on them 14-10 or 17-10 because then you're going to have to score. You get up 21-10, it's over. We're going to watch another game where Cooper Rush is going to throw 55 passes. He's going to throw 2 interceptions, and the game is going to be history. Cowboys defense is better than the Steelers secondary is weak. Cowboys run stopping is weaker. Yeah, I would agree. Maybe I could agree, but I do think the Steelers defense overall is just better. The Steelers defense overall is absolutely better. Wicked says, I didn't see that coming, Willie. You're right. Freddie says, one star, the Ravens screwed up by not using Henry enough. You know, I don't know what's going on, but Derrick Henry has not looked the same the last 3 games. He just hasn't looked the same. I've been noticing it. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I mean, he just doesn't. He doesn't look the same. Let me see here. So when you look at what Henry was doing early on, so Henry went through a stretch. It started in Dallas. Henry went 151, 199, 92, 132, 169. But then Cleveland, it was 73, 106, 68 against Cincinnati. I was just blown away by that one. 65 against Pittsburgh, 140 against the Chargers, and then back down to earth again at 82. So you'll notice it flip-flopped. From the first half of the season, we were watching these tremendous games of 150 or better, or close to 150, and very few of the 84s and the 90s. But then the second half of the season, we've watched a flip-flop to where he's having more of the pedestrian 65, 68, 73s. We're watching those, and we've only seen in the last 6 games 2 100-yard games. We've only seen 2. And the problem is, if they don't find a way to fix what's going on right in here, Philly, good defense, held them down. Pittsburgh, dang good defense, held them down. Now, this is where Dallas need to be worried. Cincinnati was able to hold. I watched this game, and they got cheated out of this game right here. They literally got cheated, and everyone knows it. The last drive, they literally missed 3 blatant calls. Face mask on Joe Shiesty. Pass interference. I can't even say they missed them. They just didn't call them. They were blatant. They cheated them out of the game. They would have walked off and won the game. But you got to understand, Cincy, they held them to 68. But I want you to think about this becomes, again, the issue for the Cowboys. What happens if Cincy decides, which is what I would decide, if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I know how I'm playing the Dallas Cowboys, y'all. I know how I'm playing the Cowboys. We're going to stop the run. We know what Mike McCarthy want to do. Do y'all not understand? These teams are smarter than me. At least I think some of them are. Do y'all know these teams are smarter than me? I'm telling you the game plan if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals. If I'm playing especially the Dallas Cowboys. The game plan is simple. What has Mike McCarthy done uncharacteristically the last 2 weeks? Oh, wait a minute. Mike McCarthy's ran the football. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to load up the box. And we're going to stop the run game. We're going to stop the run game on 1st and 2nd down. We're going to make sure our linebackers play close to the line and in the middle, because for some reason, Mike McCarthy is an A-gap, B-gap runner. Rarely will he throw a pitch. Rarely will he do a sweep. So unless he plays out of character, he runs his running backs right into the teeth of the defense. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to stop the run. And I just got a funny feeling. If we stop the run, if the Cincinnati Bengals say, if we stop the run and we're going to dare Cooper Rush to beat us, and we're even willing to give him a couple of touchdowns if he can take them, we'll give them to him. But I bet you this. I bet you he can't outdo Joe Shiesty. That's what my thinking is if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm saying to myself, I'll take Joe Burrow over Cooper Rush in a shootout any day of the week. And I'm going to stop the run. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to make Cooper Rush beat me. I'm going to make him beat me. That's why the Bengals will go after Abdul Carter in the draft. Yeah. And you better stop playing. Yeah. Man, you never know where they could get in the draft. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're going to get too far, though, because I think the Bengals are going to continue to try to win games. I do think they're going to try to continue to win games. Joe Burrow is way better than Josh Allen. I don't know why the media loves him so much. You know what? I noticed how they've been trying to prop him up. Josh Allen, I like Josh Allen, but they try to prop Josh Allen up too much. It's like they want him to be the face of the league, and I don't understand why. They want him to be the face of the league. Josh Allen never get a, y'all better watch out. Josh Allen never get a Super Bowl in this league. Josh Allen will be the face of the league for the next 4 or 5 years, no matter what anyone does. Freight Train says Joe Burrow needs to learn how to tackle better and put the team on his back, just like many wanted Dak to do. Oh, man. I get you there, too. Josh Allen is a beast. Oh, yeah. He is, but I think sometimes, though, they want him to be the face of the league, and I can't deal with that kind of stuff because when I see stuff like that, it makes my spidey senses start tingling. My question becomes, why do you want Josh Allen to be the face of the league? Why? Why? What has he won? What has he won to deserve to be the face of the league? What has he done? And to say he's a beast and he still don't have a Super Bowl. And he's been the reason why he don't have a Super Bowl. This has been one of his best seasons. Not statistically. You know why it's one of his best seasons? Because he's in single-digit turnovers. Because nobody wants to talk about it, but Josh Allen has been a turnover machine for the last 3 or 4 seasons. Turnover machine. He's the one who's kept weak teams in games in the playoffs. He's been the reason why people say he's the reason why they're going to the playoffs. He's also the reason why they get out of the playoffs. That's Josh Allen. That's Josh Allen, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. The Cowboys are 5 games behind the Giants with 5 games left. They're saying they're going to run the table. Bland is better playing slot. Yeah, Bland is a beast. I like Bland. Trayvon Diggs ain't fighting. He's not a fighter. You said he's not a fighter. He's a lover. Tackling ain't his superpower. He said he would rather play tickle football. Let me tell you something. And teams are going to make just like the Houston Texans did. Did y'all notice what the Houston Texans did by design? The word was out on Trayvon Diggs. And so the Houston Texans, how crazy is it, y'all, that they literally targeted Trayvon Diggs? What? They targeted him because somebody said he won't tackle. And so they made him tackle. Okay, whoever he's on, we're going to throw the ball to. I'm not a fan of Josh Allen. He chokes in the playoffs. He's a regular season stat pattern. See, but no one wants to admit that. But I've known it. I've always liked Josh Allen. But I've noticed in the playoffs, Josh Allen, he's the reason. Josh Allen is the reason why you get there and the reason why you get out of there. But for some reason, Josh Allen gets every excuse. Nah, bro. Lone Star, I can't go along with you on this one. I watched him in that Miami game with a backup quarterback in the game and Josh Allen doing turnover after turnover. Nah, man, Josh Allen has been the reason, just like Dak has been the reason in a game, in a couple of games. Dak was the reason. And when I say a quarterback is the reason, some folk point to the Green Bay game and say Dak was the reason. I think Dak in that game was more of part of a reason. But I think it was the first San Francisco game to me. That was the one game that I was like, Dak made a mistake. They were driving down the field. about to get the touchdown and pull ahead of the 49ers, and Dak threw an interception. And when we talking about Josh Allen has thrown some crucial interceptions or made some crucial fumbles in the playoffs and has cost them games. It's just like Lamar Jackson. You can't get around it. Lamar Jackson, whether we want to accept it or not, Lamar Jackson has cost the Baltimore Ravens games by turning the ball over. And it's the same thing with Dak. You can't turn the ball over. You cannot turn the ball over in these playoff games, because you're not going to win in the playoffs losing the turnover battle. You're just not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And so you look at Josh Allen, and a lot of people don't even admit this about Josh Allen. Life changed for Josh Allen when he got Stephon Diggs. Life changed. That's when he really started balling. He's coming to his own now, and you know, he's a great quarterback. But when you start looking at some of the stuff that he's done in the playoffs, I mean, even in some of the wins, Josh Allen has kept teams closer than they actually should have been. It should have been blowouts in some of these games, but Josh Allen has made some pivotal either turnovers or there are some plays that he didn't make. We got to understand, we got to stop giving everyone an excuse, but then we kill Dak for this stuff. No. Josh Allen has been a turnover machine. He has. And I still don't understand why they want to make him the face of the league. In the grand scheme of things, he has 5 playoff wins. 5 playoff wins. We only see one AFC championship game. That's all we see. One AFC championship game in 2021. Read it and weep. For all the Josh Allen lovers. I love Josh Allen too, but I'm gonna talk facts. Josh Allen, every time he loses, it's everyone else's fault, just like Lone Star. And I'm not knocking you, Lone Star, but I hear the same kind of talk around Josh Allen. Every time they lose, it's Josh Allen is phenomenal. It's somebody else's fault, but it's not Josh Allen's. I've heard Ryan Clark, Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, I've heard them call Dan Orlovsky out. Dan Orlovsky, his wife needs to check up on him because his love for Josh Allen needs to be studied. There is no greater apologist for Josh Allen than Dan Orlovsky. This is Josh Allen's record. Only one NFC championship game. That's it. Wild card loss. Divisional. He got to the division. He got to the divisionals. Loss. I mean, so it's amazing to me because I truly believe if Dak Prescott had this same record, he'd still be getting destroyed. I only think there's one thing that will stop people from talking about Dak Prescott. It's the Super Bowl. That's it. Super Bowl or bust for Dak Prescott. Josh Allen, he don't have to get to a Super Bowl. It'll always be everyone's fault. It'll always be everyone's fault if Josh Allen don't get to a Super Bowl. It'll never be his fault. Justin Herbert is going to go down in history. As the greatest quarterback to win nothing. And every time he doesn't win, it's going to be someone else's fault. But you know what? I hope with Harbaugh, I hope the buck stops at Harbaugh. Harbaugh is a championship coach. Harbaugh didn't win a Super Bowl, but he's been. And, you know, I think he may have got cheated in some instances, but at the end of the day, I hope the buck stops with Harbaugh. and somebody wake up and say, okay, when are we going to stop blaming everybody else? But all of these other quarterbacks, we be talking about how much better they are. But the reality of the situation is they really haven't. I mean, y'all tell me, maybe I'm wrong. So y'all telling me we be satisfied with Dak Prescott if he's only got to one AFC championship game. Only one AFC championship game. Getting bounced out in the wild cards first, then getting bounced out in the divisional rounds. So you telling me we would be satisfied with Dak Prescott? I don't believe we would. I don't believe this fan base would be satisfied with Dak Prescott. I think they would still be killing Dak Prescott. I think they'd still be killing him. Freddie says, if Burrow is all that in a bag of chips, why is Cincinnati not leading the AFC Central? His defense is terrible. I showed you his defensive stats. They're terrible. He's putting up a lot of stats because, one, his defense can't hold nobody. They can't. Cincinnati's defense, it's hard for them to hold teams. And that's why I said the game against the Ravens blew me away because the way they contained Lamar Jackson. I mean, contained Derrick Henry. But I'll give Lamar Jackson credit, boy. I'm telling you, I watched the game, and man, Lamar Jackson was doing John Madden football stuff. Lamar Jackson was doing John Madden football stuff to the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm telling you, Cooper Rush, he ain't capable of that stuff. He's not capable of that stuff. And I'm telling you, unless he gets a lot of help, it ain't going to happen. What's going on, Danny Cowboys Nation in the house? He said, because I have the best prospects ever. Darius Harry, Southern California Jaguars. Vincent Page of Grambling State Tigers. Jalen Woods, quarterback of Southern California Jaguars for our Dallas Cowboys draft. We're going to see. We'll start doing the draft here after the season. Jimmy said what he said because of the show he was on. The day Dak signed, he was all for the Dak contract. Yep, I pointed that out. Hindsight is 20/20 for Jimmy. It's easy to say when somebody get hurt, they should have never signed him. Just hogwash. Diggs says he thought he signed up for a tickle football tackle. He misread the application, but then he saw him in the locker room. He was happy that. Hey, man, I tell you, he won't tackle for sure, Paul. But they're going to make him tackle. I'm telling you, man, the Bengals better have the Cowboys on notice. If they don't tackle, Jamar Chase going to the crib. Jamar Chase is having a crazy season. Crazy season. Lone Star said without Burrow, the Bengals 0-17. Yeah, I agree. It's a travesty that they're playing as good as they are. And now they're sucking it up. Metris Adams says Shannon Sharp is a Cowboy hater for sure. But you got to realize what he did. He's smart. You can become big off being a Cowboy hater. That's why Dan Orlowski does it. But the Cowboys have been so bad, Dan Orlowski had to resort to defending the Cowboys. That's how bad they've been. Zimmer's starting to dial it in, and players are getting healthy on the defensive side. The problem is going to be the Cowboys' offensive side, which I think is going to keep that defense tired. And I'm going to tell you this part too. We need to just pause a little bit about this defense. Just pause just a little bit. You look at the last two games, because this defense, I know we don't want to remember this, but this defense, let me see, Cowboys. I will say that I do think the Cowboys were trying to get used to it, but I still got issues with. So how did they beat the Cleveland Browns like a drum 33-17? They beat the Cleveland Browns like a drum 33-17. But then they came back against the Saints and lost 44-19. Ravens, 28-25. And even the Cowboys versus the Giants was 2015. And I think we were on our way to another one of those games. Now, even with injuries, I would dare say the Cowboys-Steelers, Micah Parsons didn't play, and that defense played out of its mind. D-Law nor Micah Parsons played, and that defense played out of their minds, and they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They did. And where they've really been giving up the ghost in a lot of these games has been the third quarter. But you got to understand, this is not all of that defense, The only part of this defense that will be different than last year is that you will now have the run blend and Trayvon Diggs on the field at the same time. But this defense, Demarion Overshown was hurt last year, so he's here. But this defense, we still need to see. But is it really good? I mean, what? The Pittsburgh game and the last 2 games. But everything else has been a slaughterhouse. But I still give Zimmer credit because I say Zimmer has been doing more with less. But I also think we've been fortunate when you look at some of these games because even the other team was not at full strength. Now, think about the Steelers win. We're not going to count Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones didn't have the pieces around him. I'm not going to dog out Daniel Jones. But I'm going to start with the Steelers. When you think about the Steelers game, well, we're noticing something about the Steelers. They were not at full power. Russell Wilson has proven that he's better. He's better than Justin Fields. The Lions flat out spanked us. The 49ers were kind of hurt when we played them too. They were hurt. They were missing McCaffrey. What gutted us was Brock Purdy. You look at the Falcons. Did a pretty good job against the Falcons. I think the problem was that fake punt at the beginning of the third quarter on our own 30, and I believe Mike McCarthy did us in on that one. But Micah Parsons can say anything you want to say about the Eagles, but the Eagles just beat us. Don't give me we held them and it was a couple of things that happened. No, if you're good, you hold people to 3. No, you got beat. You look at the Texans game. They were missing some people. They got that one wide receiver back, but they were missing people. They beat us. We beat the Commanders and the Giants. And if you look at those 2 games, I know we're talking about how good the defense was, but at the end of the day, they almost gave up the ghost. Now, it's still a win, but if we're evaluating, we still ought to be like, hold on, let's pump the brakes on this defense. Because the Commanders almost came back on us and almost beat us, if not for a freak missed extra point. I would have loved to see what that game looked like 27-27. Because now we're going to put this ball back in the hands of Cooper Rush. Is he going to beat us in emergency time? I would want to see it. The Giants. Do y'all realize Drew Lock hadn't played all season? All season, Drew Lock hadn't played. It took a fantastic play by Demarion Overshown. And look at the score. It's the difference in the game. We need to pump the brakes before we keep talking about what this defense is. We're saying this against 2 teams, and I'm not going to take away from the Commanders as much, but I'm telling you, you look at what the Commanders did today, and you look at what the Commanders had kind of did in the beginning of the season and some of the teams they did it to. I still think the Commanders got caught sleeping, but they won't be sleeping the next time they play the Cowboys, I promise you. They won't be sleeping. The game plan is going to be different the next time they play the Cowboys. I think they took the Cowboys for granted. The Cowboys came out there and spanked them. Came out and spanked them, and they did. But the Giants game, man, we're all up on this Giants game, and they almost beat us. They literally almost beat us. And so the Bengals, I'm interested to see what this defense not only looks against the Bengals, the Panthers. The Panthers took the Bucs all the way down to the line today. They took them all the way down to the line, and that team was the Buccaneers. And I'm telling y'all, mark this game out of your mind right here. Mark the Cowboys Eagles. I know, we want another shot. No, you don't. We don't want another shot at the Eagles. We got to stop. We got to start being realistic. I said it last night. I love the Cowboys. We're not in the same class as the Eagles. We're not in the same class. They're better coached. They have better personnel. At every position now. They have better personnel. And I'm including CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is not the same this year. CeeDee Lamb is banged up. Something's going on. And I was talking to someone today about CeeDee Lamb and about these drop passes. I'm going to tell you something. Randall Cobb said this, and Amari Cooper said the same thing. And people do not understand this about Dak Prescott. But Randall Cobb says that Dak Prescott throws a very easy ball to catch, and so did Amari Cooper. Dak will put it on you. Dak will put it on you. He'll put that ball on you. Cooper Rush, while his release is quick, he has no velocity. CeeDee Lamb, you got to realize something. People don't understand. This stuff matters. It's just like when you have a right-handed quarterback. Most wide receivers are used to catching from right-handed quarterbacks. But when they get a left-handed quarterback, I've heard wide receivers talk about this. They have to get used to the way a left-handed quarterback throws the ball. Because when a right-handed quarterback throws the ball, it rotates to the right. They're used to that. But when a left-handed quarterback throws the ball, it rotates out. It rotates differently. I think it rotates to the left, they're saying. And so you have to get used to that. So in the same instance, when you got a quarterback that has velocity on his throws and the way you time, the way you catch, you can look at it, and by the time you get ready to turn, the ball already hit your hand, you turn. Well, Cooper Rush, while he's got a quick release, he has no velocity. And so the balls, they're not coming in and sticking. I used to play wide receiver. I mean, I didn't play in the collegiate or nothing like that, but I was a pretty good catcher of the ball. And one of the things that people liked, the quarterback liked about me, is that he could throw me balls and put them on me and I could catch them. Because if you get them in my hand, and I was a hands catcher, not a body catcher. And so if you put it on me, I'm going to get them hands around it. Boom, every single time. And he liked that because a lot of people don't realize some wide receivers are body catchers. That's not a good, I mean, I guess you could say that's a good wide receiver. But the real good ones, the great ones, hand catchers. Hands, hands, hands. That's what you want. And when you are a hands catcher, you don't want somebody throwing you softballs, man. You don't want nobody throwing to you with no velocity. I mean, I gotta wait on the ball. I mean, I gotta wait. I gotta make sure. Oh, it's coming, but with no velocity. Oh, no, I want to hit it and go. That's what wide receivers want to do. Cooper Rush can't do that. He can't. And it's not conjecture. We're watching it. He can't do it. He cannot do it. And so I think this is one of the frustrations for CeeDee Lamb, because y'all might not remember, but in 2023, let me think. Yeah, it was 2023, but even in 2022, when Dak got back at quarterback, CeeDee Lamb's, his statistics skyrocketed. They skyrocketed. And that's why even last year, you look at when they finally said, okay, we're going to let Dak loose. They skyrocketed. I think one of the problems is right now, they got Dak thinking too much. They really do. They got Dak thinking way too much. Steelers could be in the Super Bowl. I believe it. I believe it too. The Steelers are that good. I want to see more from Russell Wilson. And I do think, I didn't get a chance to watch all the game today, but I'm wondering if they're going to keep trying to figure out ways to get Justin Fields involved, maybe in the red zone. Terry Bradshaw probably falls asleep during the games like Charles Barkley. Man, Terry Bradshaw, I'm telling you, these guys just be giving takes now, man. They ain't watching films like they used to. As a Cowboys fan, I can't say that about the Steelers are a great team, but also have a great coach. Jay Pose, I keep telling folks, coaching matters. It does. It matters. It matters. You living up to your name. Let me tell you something about Terry Bradshaw. Notice something about Tony Romo. And you're going to notice this because, as a matter of fact, CBS, rumor has it, they pulled Tony Romo in and had a talk with Tony Romo. Because Tony Romo started doing the same thing at CBS he was doing with the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people don't realize, but one of the problems with Tony Romo is Tony Romo, before he got the last big contract, Tony Romo was always trying to make the pro golf circuit. Tony Romo is a great athlete, and he happens to be good at golf too. I mean, this dude was good at basketball, football, and golf of all things. Well, people listening to the games were complaining about Tony Romo. And they were saying that Tony Romo was off in how he was calling the game. See, what you don't realize, folk who played the game know this. You may still know the game, as in if you were to get on the field, and it's not that you could still do it, but you could still like, hey, this is what you do. This is what you do. But in order for you to truly know what's going on teams, it's not about what you know. It requires you to watch tape also. Tony Romo had stopped watching tape. Tony Romo was so good in the first 2 years because he wasn't far removed from football. That's what happens to a lot of them. They're not far removed from football, but as they go on, what it requires them to do, they have to study tape like they study tape when they play the game. It's just like somebody, if you're going to do what I do, and I don't think I'm that good at it, but if you're going to do this, if you're going to analyze, you can't just watch per se the game. You got to dig in the stats. You got to go back and watch tape so you can see some of the stuff like, okay, isolated things of why this is happening, why that is happening. So you don't be flapping your gums talking about somebody's not good when there may be other issues going on around them. I'm telling y'all, people don't understand this. This is the very reason why you can tell the guys, no matter what the sport, you can always tell the guys who are still in touch watching tape and guys who are just talking because, hey, man, I got legacy. And so because I got legacy, what I say is this, that, and the other. You think about this when you watch TNT basketball. The one guy I like to hear talk is Kenny Smith. You can tell that when Kenny Smith is talking, Kenny Smith been watching tape. Kenny Smith is watching tape. He knows what's going on. He's been watching tendencies. He knows what guys are doing. And that's why when he's breaking down film, he's breaking it down not just on the fly. He's breaking it down because you can tell he's still studying the game. I'm sorry. One thing I can tell about Terry Bradshaw and Jimmy Johnson, they're not studying the game no more. They're not. That's not what they hired him for. I'm telling you, the same thing happened with Shannon Sharp. When Shannon Sharp first started, you could tell, Shannon was still studying the game. The guy who was giving him the stats, you could tell that him and Shannon were going over things, and Shannon was sharp. No pun intended. But as time went on, all we got was all them crazy takes. And all of a sudden, it's like he's trying to match Skip Bayless crazy take for crazy take. No, we got to stop letting these guys live on legacy. Just because you were a great football player don't make you a great evaluator of the game. It just doesn't. Willie T says the Steelers are way better than the Bills. I agree. I think they are. They are not a great team. Y'all hear him better than the Chiefs. This guy's comical. Well, I think if you're talking about the Chiefs, you got to understand what I'm saying. I've been watching the Chiefs play. The Chiefs are winning games by the skin of their chinny chin chin. And there are people that are kind of like, people in the media are starting to question the way the Chiefs are winning these games. They're not just beating teams by like, man, the Chiefs are dominating. No, they're winning by like fluke plays, missed calls, all kinds of crazy stuff. And you know what? You can call me comical all you want to, but I believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills, I think they're better. I think they're better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think we're going to get an opportunity to see it. I do. I think we're going to get an opportunity to see it. But as I said before, while I do think they're better, the Chiefs and the Bills are better, the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to count out Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to count him out. I think Patrick Mahomes, at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is the type of quarterback that a team can be better than you. And Patrick Mahomes can still win a game. But I think without a shadow of a doubt, to me, I think that they're better. I think the Chiefs' record is better. I don't have to think that. I know that the record is better. But I think if you start digging in, the Bills and the Steelers, I think they're better. And I still say the team that people may not be watching, I'm telling y'all, man, these doggone Denver Broncos, love it, like it, or hate it, the Denver Broncos defense is the real deal. They're the real deal. They should have knocked off the Chiefs, but almost ain't good enough. I think it was a blocked field goal at the end. But the Broncos defense, man, they are stifling. They are stifling. And you know what? Some people have been arguing that they feel like that the league is trying to make sure the Kansas City Chiefs three-peat. I don't know, kind of conspiracy stuff. But I can say this after watching a few games with the Chiefs and knowing the fact that when you think about the Chiefs, that Patrick Mahomes, he hasn't been Patrick Mahomes per se.